Welcome back, cocksuckers. This is part 7, if my math is right, to how Rate My Chase is made, opening segments. Now, this video is not gonna really be much of a tutorial. We'll get into how to do it at the end, but its opening segments are basically your own canvas. It is art. Opening segments were a big part of Rate My Chase. About start of season 2, but the first opening segment was in season 1. But like I said, it's a canvas. Your own art. Spend about 60, 90 seconds, 2 minutes on stuff to lead you in to the Rate My Chase. Now, let's go back to the first ever episode, which was Ghost Fool. And we did this in the first 3 or 4 episodes, I believe. What we did is here with the Ghost Fool Chase. We did the intro to the Rate My Chase series, obviously. And then we talked about Ghost Fool as a warrant and his stats.
Let's take a look at the stats for Ghost Fool. He's a relatively new player, 895 score, just over 55 hours of gameplay. He's been arrested many times, but only 6 times in Los Santos, which means that he may be a pro warrant. Let's check it out.
So that really wasn't what you'd call an opening segment per se when you talk about normal Rate My Chase, but that was basically the infancy of what it was. The first, you could say, official opening segments, even though I wouldn't call it that, was the Rate My Chase Olympic Special. We had 2 of these. There was Presents and Born for Burning. We had 2 back-to-back ones for the 2016 Olympics, which was in Beijing, I believe. So we
4 competitors
did that. Crickets in the background, obviously. But, basically we spent about 45 seconds talking about the impending competition of the Olympic Special. And we continued. And of course it happened again with Born for Burning. If it would actually load.
Rate My Chase Olympics.
Yeah, there you go.
As the Olympics in Rio.
I think this song is copyright, so we don't want to play too much of that. We'll get into the copyright music later on. But we spent, let's see, 34 seconds, 36 seconds talking about the overview. Of course, Born for Burning, the warrant, the controlled warrant, going up against a bunch of these entities here to see who would get the gold medal and all of that. That was the preliminaries to what would end up being Rate My Chase's opening segment. So, if you know Rate My Chase and you like or know the opening segments, the first actual named opening segment was the Let's Take a Moment segment at the start of Season 2. It's 1995 versus Catherine, and it was actually called Let's Take a Moment.
Rate My Chase, but first, let's get into the Let's Take a Moment segment. In this Rate My Chase, we'll see.
So yeah, there you go. I'm trying to find something here, because of course the song for the opening segment was Fatimar's Bump to the Music, and it was from Grand Theft Auto 3. Now, ironically, a month after this video, I started to play Grand Theft Auto 3 again. Didn't finish it, funnily enough. But yeah, I wanted to name it so that, we take about a minute before the start of the episode. Got a malfunction here. We take a minute before the start of the episode and talk about what we're about to see. And this chase was perfect for it, because at this time, Catherine was part of the, well, before this time, unknowingly to me, she'd left the Missy Squad, but before this time, she was part of the Missy Squad, and the theme of this chase was whether or not at the time a cop-tanking cop, which Catherine was at the time, seemingly, could be able to take down a warrant by herself, as you can see here. So that fits perfectly with the theme, and since the song was so good, and later on I found an extended version of this song, I continued to use it for other Let's Take a Moment throughout the series. We used it a lot of times, obviously. We used it with this chase. We used it for Rest Feel.
Alright, time
you see there.
Before you get to the chase, let's have another Let's Take a Moment.
Yep, we used it in the Rest Feels chase. We used it, we saw the last video, in the San Fierro perspective. We used it in CB Rob and Vika Rate My Chase Mayday Parade. We used it in the Season 2 season finale with Cyborg. Yeah, well, there you go. I've got great internet, guys. I'm not too sure why it's not showing up, but we used it in Cyborg, as you can see there. So we used Let's Take a Moment for a really long time, but obviously there are other episodes in which we use different names, and I think the first one here was All View and Edda Fighter, as you saw at the beginning of this video, the Rate My Chase request line, which doesn't actually mean anything. You know, there was no requesting anything. I just wanted to fabricate the theme of the chase to be a bit more Vice City Stories-y. So we got some of the fresh 105 stuff out there. But yeah, you know, opening segments have evolved. We use different songs, mainly from Liberty City Stories, but other places as well. Season 4 kind of used different songs from everywhere else. You know, I would show you it in Sony Vegas, but most of the media things are gone, so I couldn't really tell you. Same here with All You Had a Fighter. You know, we talked about how we would use the prototype titler for grades. You can't really do that here. Every element that you would have, you have to put in its separate prototype title or insert text media, of course. But, you know, again, like I said, the opening segments were basically mainly for, you know, telling what's going to happen in a chase. You know, if you saw Evangelist versus Blister, we talked about the you know, summary series against the Daily Encounter series. Tommy and Senny Fail series, you know. We brought in the Let's Take a Moment segment to talk about Tommy and Sensi failing in their series. So you get the gist of what I'm trying to say already. So let's get into the analysis of it a little bit. I'm not going to explicitly tell you really how to do it, because again, it's your own canvas. Maybe you'd only need help if, you know, you've never used Sony Vegas before. But, you know, basically the first thing that I do is, before we do anything, is we want to set the stage. So you can make a script, whatever it is, but this Rate My Chase was Calcon's, which was one of the longest opening segments, especially for an episode that was not a season finale in Rate My Chase history. This was 4.5 minutes. We talked about Calcon and his, you know, past antics with getting ready for the CNR Awards. So, you know, what we did here was we talked to, because Calcon was going to be in the chase, and be the Warrant. We talked about, and he liked the driving challenges type thing. He's a good driver, I'm a good driver, so I wanted to, mess around a little bit. So what we first did, like I said, we set the stage, and I actually think I made an actual script for this. Usually for opening segments, I was going to call them Let's Take a Moment, but for opening segments, I don't usually have a script, but with CalCons, this was so convoluted that it had to have a script. So for CalCon, GG, that you were worthy enough to have a script. So we say what we were saying right there, and obviously you've got to pick a song for the opening segment, obviously, and the name. And the name usually has to coincide with the song. So this is a bad example because none of you are going to understand this, most of you, but there's a tune or song in Danganronpa, another episode of Ultra Despair Girls, called Cute Girls Battlefield. So I wanted to make this a bit of a chill background sounding opening segment because it was going to be 4.5 minutes. So again, this song is called Cute Girls Battlefield, and if we single it out a little bit, you kind of it's a bit chill, obviously. So we have the title of the song, obviously. We want to reflect the name of the segment with the name of the song or what is in the song. So I called it Driver's Battlefield since, like I said before, I'm a Bouse driver in Samp. CalCon was a Bouse driver in Samp, so we wanted to make a bit of a battlefield right here, try to calm out a little bit. It's just like in 1995, when it came to Let's Take a Moment, starting out with 1995 versus Catherine, we called it Let's Take a Moment because there are literally words in Fatimar's Bump to the Music. Lyrics, rather. Let's take a moment. So I wanted to put that into it. Plus, we were taking a moment. We were taking a moment in time to give a prelim to the chase. So that's how it be. But again, you use the prototype titlers. It doesn't really matter what you use. Prototype titler, insert text, media. Anything to help the storytelling of what it is. At the beginning, obviously, I said that the opening segment is very long, so if you want to skip it, you skip it. Obviously, how you put prototype titlers in. You go to media generator, prototype titler, drag it in, blah, blah, blah. From there, you can press the plus sign, add a new text block, change its font, size, give it the color, an outline color, outline, whatever it is. You should know how to do that already. So, you put the text in, blah, blah. After a while, you remove it. It has a time limit. You crop it out. Usually, once I say the name of the segments, is when it overlays, obviously. Hold on. To Driver's Battlefield segment, brought to you by Danganronpa, another episode, Ultra Despair Girls. So yeah, there you go. Say the name of the segment, where it came from, and overlay both of these on here. Obviously, these are going to stay for the entire time. You see they're at the bottom right of the screen. So, interesting. Oh, yes, with the prototype title, you can just drag this anywhere you want, obviously. Doesn't really matter. With this, though, you kind of have to move this about, obviously. Usually, it's like that, but you have to make it smaller, and we usually put the logos to the opening segments at the bottom right of the screen, so turn this off, obviously, because this centers it. But take this top left thing here, drag it down here. That will lower the size of it. You can move it around if you want. This button locks the y-axis. You can move it in the x. And this button locks the x. You can move it in the y. Or you can just turn both of these off and move it wherever you want. But of course, you want this to be under the text. So with every piece of text that you put on here, you can use the track motion, which is what this is called. There you go, COVID, obviously. Delta is eradicated, obviously. You can use the track motion to just move this anywhere you want on the screen. Here we talked about the length of the opening segments. When we were done with that, we took it off the screen, and we started to talk about Alcon, how he's the two-time best driver. Some of these, obviously, based on your own thoughts or level of relevance that you give it, can stay on the screen for the entire segment, or can be removed. As you can see here, we talk about Galcon and the driving challenges. We overlay something on top of it, but this stays because it's still relevant, at least in the moment. Then, where did this go, actually? This all of a sudden went from visible to not. Trying to figure out where that went. Yeah. Okay, well, all of a sudden... Oh, yes. I moved it to the top left of the screen. Okay, there you go. This ended up getting moved to the top left of the screen, as you can see with this tick right here. You can see the F. The F basically covers most of, the picture that you have right here. And you can make another keyframe right here, and you can extend this out to make it smaller, basically. That decreases its relevance, so you can put it in the background of the screen and all of that. I added some more things, the Renegades, award thing. What is this? Yeah, his video title, I put it on top of this. Basically, whatever's on top, like above, higher in the hierarchy here, is going to be on top of what's lower of it, if that made any sense. We use the prototype titler again, put in 2 dates, and then put it on top of these. When we were done talking about the CNR awards, we gave all these a cutoff. We started to talk about something else. As you can see here, we put what constitutes a good driver, put that in. We cut the prototype titler, copy pasted, added another thing to it. Hugo Boss, the guy with 10 houses. Next prototype titler, again, cut, paste, or copy paste, add another thing, and we did another thing here. So, and we added more stuff to it. As you can see here, again, there's a lot that goes into it. You kind of do need to have all of these video tracks. Unlike what we talked about with grades and the prototype titler fixing all of that issue, you're going to be cropping pictures, putting them in, and all this. Prototype titlers can't handle that as far as I know. Last 10 seconds of the opening segment, you put the name of the song on the screen somewhere. You can drag it around. It's insert text media here. So that's basically what it is. This is basically the last thing I would do for Chase. It's the opening segments once everything is done. So you kind of work backwards a little bit, it feels like. And that is what it be for opening segments. Like I said, it is your canvas. You do whatever you want when it comes to opening segments. isn't much that I can teach here. Of course, you're going to use the track motion a lot. You're going to use the event pan and crop. A lot of these, most of the time, they're kind of one and the same, only track motion's kind of better to, you know, increase size, decrease size, move stuff around. It's a bit easier to do that with track motion. There are rate my chases where, you know, opening segments can be a bit annoying, so I would make Sony Vegas files by itself just to do the opening segment. Then I would render this and I would add it, or, you know, it would be an appendage to the start of the video, which I don't think was done here. It was not that well. It kind of was. Yeah. So I rendered all of that and put it there. I rendered the chase section, put it there, and then I did the closing segments at the end, chase analysis there. So that's basically the gist of what the opening segment is. It has evolved a long way from Season 2, and if you call those that I showed you in Season 1, opening segments, it's evolved a lot since then, and it gives overview to where the chase is going. And that's how it is. Sometimes there are some chases in which you can't really make an opening segment, so we just jump in to the chase, but that's how it is. So that's part 7 to how Rate My Chase is made. I believe that is all for the editing portion of the series. I think next we're going to just look at the finished product of Rate My Chase and just analyze it for a little bit. I'm Rashawn. See you next time.